stuff, and you've got to do that against Protoss more so than any other race. Although after watching Thorzin and Tal'Darim, I think that Rhett might be doing it a little bit against Terran too.
For sure. And Overlord's in really good positions, checking out the gas on the natural, and then also we'll be able to go in the main, and I'm sure he'll start to go into the main actually really soon. As next pylon, after the next pylon, we'll be seeing some stuff come down for Grubby depending on what he wants to do. Meanwhile, Rhett will be taking double gases just about on the 6-minute mark here, so he can start to get speed of his own and then go to lair and start to play his usual style, which is usually Roach Ling, with Roach speed of course. And I haven't seen Rhett late game that much in this matchup, and we'll have to see what his play is like.
Yeah, I'm interested. I certainly am. Grubby's shown throughout this tournament that he's quite an interesting player. He doesn't really have a set style from what I've seen. He seems to vary between a lot of different builds and different styles depending on who he's going up against, which is the mark of a truly strong competitive player. But he still does have holes in his build. And Stefano shredded him, let's be honest, in that 3-0 series. And that may put him off just a little bit, but we'll see. Both of these guys looking stable for the moment, but you never really can tell until the first engagements begin. Yeah,
well, I think Grubby's going to be quite fresh after his break and thinking about who he could play against, be it Thorzin or Rhett, and it usually won't take effect until after the first game. If he loses the first game, he'll probably go back to the same, horrible mindset he had against Stefano.
Yeah.
But right now, he's very much so fresh into this game. He does have the Twilight Council really nice and early, so he can work on Blink and also +2 very, very shortly. He may decide to go GTs to test the boundaries of Rhett, but he is going to go Blink first of all and continue with getting double gas from here on out.
Yep, and Blink is wonderful. As we've seen, it does play very much into Grubby's playstyle. That his strength is micro, and it has been for a long time. He's tightened up his macro considerably, as we've seen, and this was one of the very early criticisms of Grubby when he first switched, is that his macro and his just general game understanding and the way that Starcraft 2 flows was particularly poor. He was putting on some really flashy performances with great micro, but
Double Forge.
Double Forge.
I haven't seen this in a while, and he's going to be able to go into 2-2, so instead of going directly into 2-0, he goes +1. And then we'll be able to go 2-2 from here on out. This is something that I've tested around with, kind of being gateway heavy with a few immortals in there and really working on your upgrades. It's hit or miss a lot of the time, depending on if your opponent goes into Hydras or not. But to be honest, I'm not sure if it's that efficient to do, and I don't think Grubby's played this kind of style a lot either, because in the super, super important matches, when he had to play against Stefano, he never pulled this out.
No,
so
he didn't do that.
I don't think it's something that he's like, oh, this is the best way to play this matchup, but certainly just an XS build of his.
Yeah, doing a little bit experimental, doing something a little bit different. There's nothing really wrong with doing that at all. Grubby, with good control, is able to at least save 4 of the 5 Stalkers there from that horrific potential surround. That's been eliminated. He doesn't have to worry about that too much. In the meantime, creep spread is starting to get a little bit out of control for Rhett up to the top here.
And the Overseer goes in and sees the Double Forge and the Twilight Council finish it with Blink. So Rhett actually went pretty much all the way up to 70 drones before doing anything. He's also thrown down a Spine Crawl on his third base and understands what's going on now. Double Forge, which means there's a lot of gas taken away from higher tech units, such as Colossus, such as Templar, and so on. And we may actually see an decently upgraded army with Templar Zealot charge as well, and going into Storm too. That may be something Grubby will want to do later on once his third base is established, but working on 2-2 currently. Overall, the best style against this is Rhett doesn't want to fall too far behind in upgrades. I'm surprised he didn't do the best counter to double upgrades is by going double upgrades yourself.
Yeah, certainly. And I have to wonder why, as he said. Why is he not doing that? Who knows? He's pulling roaches at the moment, and he's at least finished up his roach speed and just going for +1 missile attack, but he's certainly behind in that respect, especially when you factor in Chrono Boost and engaging right into a large force of roaches, but that's not really a problem. There aren't enough links to stop him from getting out of there, so that shouldn't be an issue. Roach speed is allowing Rhett to at least keep up until the second blink goes off, and current army composition is pure roach for Rhett at the moment.
Grubby's playing pretty greedy though, going for 2-2 upgrades and then trying to take a third base at the same time, and these force fields are going to be nice, I'm sure. Oh, okay, maybe not though.
Well, maybe not.
They had the potential to be
You said
nice.
force fields, that was just one, so it's okay, your analysis was still correct.
Yeah, I guess so. Double cannons on the thirds. Only a single pylon though, it's a little bit dangerous. What's he got? He can't stay on gateway all game long. He has to throw down the Templar Archives or Colossus or something, but
some people are making the comment that Grubby seems to hate Storm at the moment, although we did see some excellent Storm play in the tournament from him in the round of 8.
Yeah, I mean, he can't really use Storm that well against a Zerg. You can obviously against Terran, but against Zerg it's a little bit more difficult, especially with roaches.
Yeah, roaches are just so tough that they'll just sit in a storm and be like, don't care, it's fine.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll even get tunneling claws and have them either burrow out of the storm or burrow under the storm and regenerate health.
I'm not too happy about, you know, Rhett's kind of play. I don't think Roach only is a good play style against this. I mean, I would have, you know, at least added on some Hydras by now or something.
Well,
but
he's going to bring Infestors in shortly, but...
Right now, though, it's pretty bad because 2/2 upgrades and Immortals. Maybe if he's able to snipe the Nexus, then this would be amazing, but I don't think Grubby's going to let him even do that, so...
Well, he could have, but he'd have had to expend a lot of roaches to make that work, so apparently Rhett wasn't particularly willing to do that. It is funny, though, the amount of firepower that he had, 42 roaches with +1, that's going to melt a Nexus in a few hits if you can get them all close enough.
Oh, Grubby misses a Force Field, just about gets the Force Field on the natural while doing this. Nice play from Rhett, but... Ooh, not so good force fields again, but this Immortal's going to go down to just Lings here, and there's no second force field because he had to use 2 to actually wall that off.
Oh, here comes the Warp Prism, and Grubby could have evacuated that, but I think he's a bit too preoccupied with what's going on here. Good force fields put down to hold on to this base, and Rhett trying to force his way through there.
There's no force fields left, though. He's used them all because they haven't been the best force fields in this game, so he's had to use more than he would have preferred, and Rhett didn't really achieve that much there, threw a lot of supply away.
Really.
3-3 is, oh my god, +3 is not so far away from finishing now. Nice Ling run by Rhett here.
Yeah,
right into the main.
Very, very solid.
If he killed the Forge, that would be so good right now.
Yeah, and I have to wonder if he's going to think about that. He actually wants to just try and cancel the gateway, which is wasteful. He can't really do that. But the thing is, there were 2 Zealots in there with +2/+2. They're going to absolutely wreck the unupgraded Zerglings, and there you go. That is what happens there, and those Forges are allowed to continue production. +3 is about to kick in, and when it does, those Roaches are going to melt very rapidly. And while they do, of course, have the upgrades in terms of their attack, that's a bit potentially a misrally there. They do have attack upgrades, they don't have defensive upgrades, so these are going to hurt. These Stalkers are going to hit them really hard.
Yeah, and there goes the heavy tech switch into Colossus, so he will be adding Colossus shortly while he takes the 4th base, but right now with 3/3 upgrades, even a gateway heavy army style is going to be pretty good. We do have 4 Zealots and a Stalk in the top left, but they won't achieve that much, as obviously Lings and Roaches shall be on their way shortly.
Yeah, they're moving over there to do that, and he'll kill a Spine Crawler and do a little bit of slicing action, but yeah, the Warp Prism gets caught there, as you can see. My camera is not playing ball with me today. There we go. The Warp Prism was deployed here in order to send those units over, so he didn't go directly in there. He gets out of there with the Warp Prism, fortunately, and then Grubby moves forward just to make sure that that's protected. Adrenal Glands coming up for Rhett, which is a very curious choice, bearing in mind that he's only just started +1.
Yeah, I mean, he has to get him straight away anyway. He's at Hive, so Great Aspire on the way too. 3/3 upgrades from Grubby, and working on +1 shields too. The Colossus is going to be a bit of a pain, but I wonder, does Grubby know about the Hive, though? That's the interesting point. He does know about the Hive, so he knows that Broodlords are coming, so he's probably going to look for a push, even with a single Colossus, wherever that may be. And did he actually cancel it? Oh, did he cancel the Colossus? Oh, that makes sense. Oh, it's just in production. Maybe? I don't know what happened. I'm sure he had one earlier.
I was almost sure he did as well. Funny enough, I think Grubby could even go here and not worry, because like, oh no, Ling's scary. No, they're naked Lings. No, they haven't been upgraded. It doesn't matter. They tickle. They hit for 1 on the armor of Stalkers. So why does he care? The answer is he really doesn't. The Lings get massacred.
Exactly, and the Warp Prism in the south gets picked off by 3 Corruptors. Boop.
Yep, down it goes.
And yeah, that's about it so far. I mean,
Pretty
Infestors are going to be able to... The thing with Infestors is that they're so good at defending, because Fungal Growth filtering units through, it's very, very good. And Grubby coming right up the loft here, but
+2
Infestors are going there as well.
This is insanity. The upgrade count is massive to the point where he could very easily engage here and do a lot of damage. He does want to be careful about the fungal growths, but still, look at how easily those roaches are gunned down by the heavily upgraded force. Fungals are effective because, of course, they're not affected by that armor upgrade, but Grubby barely lost a single unit there. Now a huge number of Infested Terrans coming down. He doesn't have the AoE. You don't want to fight up against that. He doesn't have any AoE to clear it.
Ooh, Colossus by itself, picking off a couple of Infestors, but just a single one dies, actually.
He's bringing in some Broodlords and some Corruptors, so that Colossus will die one way or the other. So that base has been sniped off, and Grubby took a lot more damage as a result from those Infested Terrans, and Ling run by, very, very nice indeed.
Yeah, picked off a couple of cannons. They killed 2 cannons and then a 3rd one as well.
You see how slow they actually kill the probes? The probes have +3 armor. They just don't care.
Yep. And yeah, it's getting a little bit more difficult though for Grubby right now.
Yeah, his upgrade advantage is starting to slip away here, which is problematic, and that's why you really want to do damage while you've got that big lead.
And a lot of Broodlords and Infestors now, they're going to be very good against this army. Ooh.
Unless, of course, they all die horribly, and the Infestors take a huge amount of punishment there. The Broodlings aren't going to do too much damage, but in the sheer numbers, they will overwhelm Grubby's force if he doesn't have something to deal with. Hasn't started his Stargate yet. I think he's confident that at the moment his upgrades will keep him ahead, but he will eventually have to go for that mothership. Goes for the big blink underneath it, and even with those upgrades, it doesn't seem to matter all that much. Goes for another aggressive blink, and actually there's no fungal growths available now, so he's going to be able to get the cleanup here.
Oh wow, just one-shotting Broodlords.
That's
how
powerful that is. Even with the +1 shields there, about to have +2, the Broodlings just aren't doing any damage because they're not well upgraded enough. And if, of course, there had been fungals and the Broodlords had been able to get out of there, sure, but the Infestors, because you lost about 6 or 7 before the engagement happened, the Infestors ran out of energy after the first wave of fungals, and now they're all going to die anyway.
Wow, and Grubby's just marching through. Killing this hatchery is so big, especially after just killing that top left one. Reinforcements coming as well from Grubby. Stalkers and Colossus. There is no way that Rhett can hold this right now. He's lost way too much. Ling's in the making, but they're still at 1-1 upgrades. So, and Grubby's at 3-2-3 right now. This double forge worked out really well from here.
GG, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. The first game of the series going to Grubby. You're damn right it worked out very well for him. And before anyone starts screaming that that's the answer to the late game, please bear in mind that Grubby was able to pull that off because Rhett really was behind in upgrades, massively behind. We had, at the end of the game, he was on 3-2-3, which is incredibly high and very, very rare to see. And Rhett was playing catch-up the entire time. You said yourself, could have gone for double evolution chamber to keep up with that.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of Lings, and then suddenly the Lings don't do anything.
Yeah.
They hit for 1. The Lings are absolutely useless. And because he was lagging behind so far in upgrades, Grubby was able to engage and wreck with bare minimal losses. He didn't lose his army at any point. The most damage he ever took was because he decided it would be a good idea trying to take on infested Terrans with Stalkers, which, of course, is a terrible idea. But whatever the case, it was a good style against what Rhett was doing.
And Rhett didn't react properly, but yeah, really, really good.
Yeah, man. That was a good game. I enjoyed that very much. Grubby takes the first game in this best of 5 series, and we'll be right back with game 2 very shortly.